Welcome to today's deep dive. We are pulling some amazing insights from the Atlas of Horses and Ponies today.
We really are. There's so much in there.
Yeah, and we are looking at a sensory world that exists right alongside ours, but that we honestly rarely understand. If you've ever looked at a horse and just wondered what is actually going on behind those massive eyes of theirs, you're absolutely in the right place.
Because it's a lot more than most people think.
Oh, completely. So our mission for you today is twofold. First, we're going to totally immerse you in decoding the secret language of horses, their sounds, their body language, and then we are going to track the really action-packed first year of a baby horse's life.
Which is incredibly intense, biologically speaking.
Right. It's all about shortcutting your journey to becoming truly well-informed about these animals. Okay, let's unpack this, starting with the sheer physical equipment horses use to experience the world. Because to get why they talk the way they do, we have to look at their anatomy.
Exactly. I mean, their anatomy is essentially a masterclass in prey animal evolution. It dictates everything about how they communicate. Like, if we just start with their eyes.
Yeah, they're huge.
Some of the largest eyes of any land mammal, and they are positioned right on the sides of their heads. That lateral placement gives them this almost 360-degree panoramic vision. They can literally spot predators creeping up without even turning their heads.
Which is such a wild concept for us with our forward-facing eyes. But the Alice points out they do have these severe blind spots, right? Directly in front of their nose and directly behind their tail.
Right, which explains the oldest safety rule in the book. Never walk directly behind a horse.
Because if you do and you just pop out of that blind spot, you're basically terrifying them.
Exactly. And to back up that vision, their ears are just as specialized. They can swivel a full 180 degrees.
Like little independent satellite dishes.
Yeah, to catch sounds from any direction.
Which actually leads perfectly into something really fun I want to try with you listening. We are going to do a sound riddles challenge.
Oh, I love this part.
Yeah, so I'm going to describe or mimic 4 distinct horsey noises based on the text, and I want you to decode the emotion behind them for us. And let's also give our listeners the spelling for these, because they are very unique onomatopoeic words. So, riddle number 1. Imagine a really loud, high-pitched ringing call, like a classic movie horse sound.
Ah, okay. That is the whinny. W-H-I-N-N-Y.
Whinny. And what are they saying when they do that?
It's essentially a call to friends over a long distance. That high pitch cuts through wind and environmental noise to say, hey, I'm over here. Where are you guys?
That's the location ping. Got it. Okay, riddle number 2. This one is entirely different. It's a low, vibrating, purring sound from deep in the throat.
That is the nicker. N-I-C-K-E-R. And that means come to me. It's a very intimate sound. You'll hear a mother calling her foal with it, or a horse might use it when they spot you walking up with a bucket of tasty hay.
I've definitely heard that one at the stables. They almost feel like a physical vibration.
It does, yeah. It's meant for close quarters.
Okay, riddle number 3. An abrupt, forceful blast of air through the nose.
The snort. That is pure alarm. It means something strange is going on and the whole herd needs to be on high alert.
Right. And the last one, riddle 4. A really sharp, high-pitched noise, but shorter and harsher than a whinny.
The squeal. That communicates straight-up aggression. Like, back off my space right now.
Wow, so it's a whole vocabulary. And actually, since we're talking about words and sounds, I want to take a quick second for a language and pronunciation tip. Just for anyone listening who might be learning English or wants to get the terminology exactly right.
Always a good idea.
Yeah. So first, the animal itself is a horse. But sometimes people confuse it with the word horse, H-O-A-R-S-E, which sounds identical but means having a scratchy throat.
English is fun like that.
It really is. And the other big one from our text is about their feet. When a horse gets really angry, it might stomp its foot. The singular term for that foot is a hoof.
Right, the hoof, which, fun fact, is covered in keratin. That is the exact same tough protein that makes up human fingernails.
Yes, exactly. But here's the trick. If you're talking about more than one, it completely changes spelling and sound. It becomes hooves. H-O-O-V-E-S.
Hooves. So important to get that right. 1 hoof, 4 hooves.
Exactly. Now, taking those hooves and all these sounds, how do we read the room visually? Like if I'm looking at a horse, how do I know what mood they're in?
Well, you look at the whole picture. If a horse is happy or resting, you'll see pricked or relaxed ears. And often they'll be resting one back leg with the hoof just slightly off the ground.
Very chill.
Super chill. But if they're worried, those ears start pointing backwards. You'll see a tense V shape in the muscles right above their eyes, and they might start doing this nervous chewing motion even if they don't have food in their mouth.
And what if they are past worried, like unhappy or angry?
Then the ears go totally flat against their neck. They might bare their teeth, stomp those hooves we just talked about, and you'll see the whites of their eyes. Plus, a really aggressive swishing tail. And I cannot stress this enough. If you see this, back off immediately. It is a major safety warning.
Message received. Do not mess with a horse pinning its ears.
Exactly.
So we've got this incredible sensory baseline. Now I want to shift gears and apply all this to a story. I want to look at the action-packed journey of a baby horse, a foal. Let's call her Willow.
Oh, Willow's first year is a gauntlet.
It really is. Let's put you right there. Imagine the first few hours of Willow's life. It is not a relaxed, lazy babyhood. Within literally 1 hour of birth, Willow has to figure out how to stand up on these incredibly long legs, fight gravity, and take her very first wobbly steps.
1 hour.
Just an hour. The biological clock is ticking so loudly.
What's fascinating here is the sheer survival mechanism behind that. In the wild, they are prey. A newborn baby horse that can't stand up and run within hours is an easy target. So they evolved to be what we call precocial.
Precocial meaning born ready to go.
Right, and as soon as she takes those wobbly steps, she has to drink her mother's milk. But this first milk is special. It's packed with crucial nutrients and antibodies that essentially jumpstart her immune system.
Which she needs, because she's born with 0 defenses.
Yeah.
Okay, so she survives day 1. Moving into week 1, she's snoozing about a third of the day away. And she has to suckle from her mom 2 to 3 times every single hour just to fuel her massive growth.
It's exhausting just thinking about it.
But here is the most mind-blowing, slightly gross fact from the Atlas about week 1. Young foals like Willow will actually eat their mother's poop.
Yeah, that always shocks people.
It's wild. Why on earth do they do that?
Well, it actually serves a vital, life-saving biological purpose. Horses digest food through a massive fermentation process in their gut, which requires very specific, healthy gut bacteria.
And Willow isn't born with that bacteria.
Nope, her gut is totally sterile. So by eating the mother's feces, she is safely consuming the exact microbial ecosystem she's going to need to digest grass and hay later on.
Wow. Okay, so nature's ultimate probiotic. That is amazing.
It really is.
All right, so she gets her gut sorted. By weeks 2 through 4, Willow is hitting some major milestones of independence. She takes her very first nibble of solid food, usually hay. And she gets her hooves gently trimmed for the first time by a specialized horse foot expert.
Yes, the farrier. That structural maintenance is so critical while she's growing.
Yeah, got to protect those joints. Then we jump to 2 to 3 months old. This is playtime. Willow is out in the pasture, jumping, rearing up, bucking with the other foals.
But that play isn't just goofing off, it's a serious education. By clashing with her friends, she's learning those social bonds. She's learning spatial boundaries and how to read all that body language we talked about earlier.
She's learning how to be a horse.
Exactly.
Which prepares her for the big transition between 8 and 12 months. This is when Willow is weaned.
Right, the weaning phase.
She is officially weaned from her mother's milk, which means she's completely transitioned to solid food. And she starts getting basic education, like walking nicely on a lead rope and getting comfortable wearing a blanket.
It's a huge psychological shift for her.
And then before you know it, she hits the 1-year mark. Happy birthday, Willow. She officially sheds the title of foal and becomes a yearling.
Which is basically her teenage phase. She'll be a gangly teenager until she hits full adulthood around 4 or 5 years old.
It's just a phenomenal journey. Now, thinking about her growing up brings up a really practical question. How do we actually measure these magnificent animals as they grow? Because horse people don't just use a standard measuring tape, right?
No, they have a very unique system. We measure horses in a unit called hands.
Hands.
Yes. And we don't measure to the top of their head because their head is always moving up and down. We measure from the ground straight up to the withers.
The withers being the highest point of their back, right between the shoulder blades.
Exactly. It's a fixed point. And one hand is equivalent to roughly 4 inches or about 10 centimeters.
Okay, 4 inches per hand. So keeping that math in mind, I want to look at the extremes of how big and small these animals can get, because the records in the Atlas are crazy. Let's talk about Samson, the gentle giant.
Oh, Samson was incredible.
Born in 1850, he was a Shire horse, and he stood a towering 21.25 hands tall.
which is just massive.
That is over 2.19 meters, over 7 feet tall at the shoulder.
Yeah, the sheer musculoskeletal strength required for that is hard to fathom.
Seriously. I mean, we have that idiom in English, strong as a horse, and Samson is literally the definition of that. The book notes he was powered by a massive daily diet of oats and barley just to keep that frame going.
He had to eat constantly. But then, on the absolute flip side of the genetic spectrum, you have Thumbelina.
Tiny but tough Thumbelina.
Yes, she was a miniature brown mare, fully grown, but she was only 4.2 hands tall.
4.2 hands. That's like 44.5 centimeters.
Yeah.
She was basically the size of an English bulldog.
Pretty much. But her personality was huge.
That was my favorite detail.
Yeah.
The atlas says she used to purposely escape under the farm fences and just boss around all the bigger draft horses.
She definitely didn't let her size hold her back.
No, she needed someone to tell her, hold your horses.
She really did. She had all the same instincts and body language as a 1,000-pound animal, just in a tiny package.
And speaking of extremes, it's not just height. The atlas mentions this one horse, Old Billy.
Old Billy, the longevity record.
Right. Most horses live, what, 25 to 30 years?
Usually, yes. But Old Billy was a barge-tugging horse who lived to be 62 years old.
62, working on the canals. I mean, they say don't look a gift horse in the mouth, which usually means checking their teeth to see how old they are. But if you looked in Old Billy's mouth, I can't even imagine what his teeth look like after 62 years of chewing hay.
Probably completely worn down. Living that long, especially doing hard physical labor, is just a phenomenal biological anomaly.
It really is. And man, stepping back, looking at Old Billy and tiny Thumbelina and Willow taking her wobbly steps, it just gives you a completely new appreciation for these animals.
It really reframes how you look at them.
Completely. We've gone from spelling out the reason behind a whinny to tracking the intense biology of a newborn foal. You realize they aren't just standing around in a field. They are highly sensitive, intensely communicative creatures.
Absolutely.
And for you listening, whether you're, prepping for a weekend trip to the stables or you just love gathering surprising knowledge to share, you now know exactly how to speak horse.
You're officially initiated.
Yes. But before we wrap, I know you had a final thought about all this communication that you wanted to leave our listeners with.
I do, because it's something I've been mulling over since we started prepping for this.
Let's hear it.
Think about it. We've just spent all this time decoding how horses use a complex, nuanced system of ear swivels and muscle tension and very specific vocalizations just to say a simple hello or give me some space.
Right.
So if a horse has a language that is so rich and sophisticated, it makes you wonder, what incredibly complex languages might the other everyday animals in our lives be speaking right in front of us? Like the dogs, the cats, the birds outside your window. What are they saying that goes completely unnoticed every single day, just waiting for us to finally pay attention?
That is a brilliant point. Something for all of you to seriously consider the next time you lock eyes with your dog or your cat at home. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep observing, keep questioning, and we will catch you on the next one.